Hello everyone, Tony Walsh here. Welcome back to the channel and another Memorial Day video. Memorial Day is a special day because it's a day that we memorialize our fallen soldiers that either died in battle, died in the training exercise, just died while wearing the uniform. We have Memorial Day, we have Veterans Day, and we have Armed Services Day, so don't be confused, as Memorial Day is the day that we recognize those that died while wearing the uniform. Now that has a special meaning to Jackie's family, and I've done some videos before about this, and I'll try to remember to put the link up here where you can go back and watch those videos and put them in the description here. She had, I would think it's her great uncle or maybe great uncle, but his name is Bennett H. Waters. And here is his what is it? I'm reading upside down. His citation of honor from our federal government. We call him Uncle Hubert, and his name is actually on the memorials back here behind us. I'm in the Blackshear City Park, and this is usually where I come and do my Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Armed Services Day videos. So thus I'm back in the park, and it's all lined up with flags up and down the sidewalk. The town has flags up and down Main Street, so just another day we get to celebrate, honor, and memorialize this country and the servicemen and women that serve. So I'm posting this on Monday, Memorial Day. So I preached a sermon yesterday on Sunday that talked about Memorial Day, not only in the aspect of our servicemen and women, but also related it back to Scripture. So I'm going to bounce back and forth using some real life examples and then relate it to Scripture. So hopefully this thing won't take too long, because you can see I'm already 2.5 minutes into it. So I'm going to start off with this story, and it goes like this. It's 3 a.m. on a cold winter day. Patchy snow covers the landscape as loudspeakers overhead blare, telling everyone to get to their places. Surrounded by sandbags and concrete barriers, roughly 10,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines line up in a formation type setting along the edge of a road. Well, they're there to honor and pay respect to some fallen comrades. These comrades are in a convoy. They're being hauled on a flatbed trailer. It's 3 American flag draped coffins that are on their way to the airport to come back home to the States. So once that trailer reaches the airport, the formation is dismissed. And even though it's dismissed, those remaining soldiers, airmen, Marines, I'm going to say soldiers a lot just to cut it short, those remaining soldiers have thoughts going through their mind about who's in those 3 caskets and the sacrifice that they paid serving their country. See, that's what Memorial Day is all about. It's about honoring those fallen heroes. It's about honoring their sacrifices in our behalf and for our behalf. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this right now because I can hear the train whistle coming, so y'all hang tight and I'll be right back. You see, every conflict that we've been involved with, whether you want to call it a war or conflict, desert storm, just whatever you want to call it, every conflict we've ever been involved with has had casualties. We've lost sons and we've lost daughters to these battles. And often due to the unusual bravery they displayed in the midst of that combat. But every once in a while, someone offers a sense of bravery that goes above and beyond, and sometimes losing their life when providing that act of bravery. When that happens, Congress acknowledges that act and awards that person with a Medal of Honor. So I'm going to go with a story that talks about one such Medal of Honor recipient. That was Douglas Albert Monroe. See, he was awarded the Medal of Honor as a result of his actions on September 27th, 1942. So what Monroe did was guide some Higgins boats in an effort to try to rescue 500 Marines. Doesn't say how many of those Marines he successfully rescued, but however, you know, he was a recipient, so obviously he had to rescue numerous amounts of them. But anyways, after all of his planning and the actions and all that, at some point in time, he placed his boat in between the other boats in the beachhead to draw the enemy fire towards him. Well, with bullets flying all over the place, sooner or later, one of them found Monroe and he was killed. But as a result of him doing what he did, those Marines were able to be evacuated. As I said, I don't know the number, and I'm still not to the point of telling this story. So Monroe displayed outstanding leadership, outstanding acts of heroism in this effort. And because of that, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. And there's many, many people that have done the same or similar things as Monroe did. They gave their lives, they placed themselves in danger for their comrades, for their fellow soldiers, for their fellow human. They put the lives, the safety of others ahead of themselves. And that is a true act of bravery. See, those type people are unselfish. That's the way we should be. We should be unselfish in putting the lives of others ahead of ourselves. Notice the motto in our logo: faith, family, and farming. Nowhere does it say me. Nowhere does it say Tony. It's putting our faith in God first, our family second, then just farming or homesteading, whatever we want to use, because that's, you know, the majority, you know, what the gist of our channel is about. There's another person that I want to talk about that put himself above all others. And that person is from a small Middle Eastern country. Over 2,000 years ago, this man put his life on the line and died for us. And that man is Jesus. Just like Monroe, he put himself on the line of fire. Just like Monroe, he drew the wrath of the enemy away from us. You know, we know about the birth of Jesus. We know the story about, you know, when he was 12 years old and his parents found him in the temple. Then we know his adult life when he started his ministry. There's gaps in between, but who cares? What matters in the end is that Jesus sacrificed himself for us. Like Monroe, he put himself in harm's way. Jesus endured the pain so we don't have to. He endured the suffering for the benefits of you and I. You know, this is not just told in the New Testament. It's told in the Old Testament as well. In Isaiah, we'll read, "Surely he took up our infirmities and carried our sorrows, yet we considered him stricken by God, smitten by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions." Remember, Jesus was pierced in his hands and his feet with nails, even pierced in his side with a spear to make sure he was dead. So he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. See, he did that willingly. At any time, he could have called angels to help him. He could have asked his Father to relieve him of that burden, but he didn't. He knew what his task was. He knew what his mission was. And his mission was to serve and to save. Jesus willingly, just like Monroe, Jesus willingly endured this pain and suffering, just like Monroe did for his soldiers. Jesus did that for us. Jesus suffered on behalf of his people, and that's you and I. Paul wrote this in his letter to the Philippians. He said, after being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. How many of us are willing to do that? How many of us are willing to do half of what Private Monroe did? See, the men and women of the military, the men and women of the military put their lives in danger for the sake of their fellow soldiers. Sometimes for other human beings, like if they're in foreign countries, you know, they're sitting there trying to save those folks. But see, Christ was waging a battle much more significant. See, soldiers fight for land, water, territory, a thing, something tangible. Jesus is fighting for your soul. He's fighting to save us from a life in hell. He's fighting to save us from eternity with the devil. We're all going to live in eternity. When we die on this earth, we're going to live in eternity. The question is, which eternity? Heaven or hell? It's your choice. Jesus made the choice to die on that cross for us. Don't make his death be in vain, because he did it for you. I don't know if you can hear the bells in the background. That's actually to the church that I'm a member of, the First Methodist Church in Blackshear, so hopefully you enjoy the bells, if you can hear them. But in 1 Peter 3:15 we read, but in your hearts set apart as Christ is Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give a reason, to give the reason for hope. But do this with gentleness and respect. See, our hope, or we have hope because of Jesus Christ. Our weapon that we use is his word that we find in the Holy Scripture. You know, there are so many people arguing back and forth today. You go to all these college campuses, you know, and they are rioting, they are protesting, they are hollering, they are screaming. There is no way to sit down across the table from those folks and have a peaceful conversation. Be self-controlled. Be alert. Because the enemy, the devil, prowls around us like a roaring lion. He's looking for someone to devour. So resist him. Stand firm in your faith. Be thankful for what Jesus did for you. For though we live in the world, do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, the weapons we have come from divine power to demolish the strongholds of others. Paul paints this picture in one of his letters to the Ephesians. He's more specific when he describes the armor of God. Now, y'all know Andrew's in the military, and he has his boots, he has his pants, he has his shirts, he has his jackets, he has his belt, he has his weapons, He has his body armor, he has a helmet, he has goggles. Andrew is fitted from head to toe with the uniform to carry on his battles. But so are you. So am I. Because we're Christians and we have accepted Jesus Christ into our hearts, he's asking us to help him fight the battle. And here's what we wear. We wear his belt of truth. We wear his breastplate of righteousness. Our feet are fitted with the gospel of peace. We carry the shield of faith. We wear the helmet of salvation. And we arm ourselves with the sword of the Spirit. Now that armor is just not good enough. Just as the military has battle plans, we have to have a plan for battle too. And that battle plan comes from his holy word. Now, generals can send texts, emails, communications, whatever to their soldiers. Jesus sends us his battle plan through prayer. So prayer is important for each and every one of us. We need to lead a life of steady prayer. We need to lead a life of regular prayer. There's one more story I want to tell about a soldier in the Korean War. Him and his fellow soldiers were in a fierce battle when the enemy started opening fire on them. Well, they had already dug their foxholes in preparation for this battle. So they all dived in. However, there was one that was wounded and laying on top of the dirt. The soldiers could hear him moaning. The soldiers could hear him groaning, trying to figure out how they were going to save this man out there. Well, after much talking back and forth, trying to figure out what they were to do, one soldier kept looking intensely at his watch. Every few minutes he would look at his watch, looking for a specific time. When that time came, he jumped out of that foxhole, went and pulled his soldier all the way back until he got him to safety. And all the other soldiers like, man, what in the heck went through your mind? What were you doing? Well, that soldier responded by saying this. He said, before I left, my mother told me that she would be praying for me at a certain time every day. He said, so when that time came, I had faith in her faith that she was praying for my safety. So I did what I must do to save my fellow soldier. Are you, three fingers pointing back at me when I say that, are we willing to put ourselves on the line to save our fellow human being? Doesn't have nothing to do with race, culture. Are we willing to put ourselves on the line to save another human being? Jesus didn't come to earth to save the Jews. Jesus came to earth to save everybody, to save everyone that believed in him. Whites, blacks, brown, yellow, green, purple with pink polka dots. He came to save us all, Jews and Gentiles. He came to save us all.